Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM. Today I'm going to be taking a look at another miniature engine sent to me by my friends across the sea. And this one is something that I've never done before because this thing is a miniature internal combustion engine. Oh yes, and I have absolutely zero experience with these things. I have absolutely no idea. I've never played with one of these before. I've never had a petrol radio controlled car, so this is completely new territory for me. So based on that, let's open it up and have a look. First impressions of the box are really good. I like the shiny nature of the image on the front. It makes it feel like a premium product. And other good news is up here. My experience of Retrol engines so far has been entirely positive. I've never heard of OKMO, but the fact Retrol is on the box is a very good start. Key information is on the back, including the fact that apparently this is just ready to run. And I really like that blue on it as well. In fact, the only thing I don't like about it is the fact that Stirling Kit have stuck their sticker on the top of it. I really wish they wouldn't do this. It's not exclusive to them, and it cheapens the whole box. On the other hand, thank you very much to Stirling Kit for actually sending this thing through, because I am really excited to open it up. So let's open this up and see what we've got. So we have some instructions, we'll look at those in a minute. And then we have a big piece of foam. That is a chunky piece of foam. And then, well, an engine. Oh, let's get this out. Oh, look at this. Well, this is extremely pretty. It's an absolute work of art. I really like all the silver on it that's then highlighted with the brass bits like the tank and the fuel pipes. That's just really, really nice. I mean, this would be a fantastic display piece, but the fact this actually works, yeah, this is next level. And then we've got that positive sign of Retrol's logo to show they're involved and the nicely embossed OKMO on the side of it. In fact, the only thing I don't like about it is the fact that there's Stirling Kit stickers on it there, here, and here. Now, obviously, I'm very grateful to Stirling Kit because they keep sending me amazing engines to review, but I really, really wish they'd stop sticking their stickers everywhere. This wood base would look really nice if it didn't have the Stirling Kit stickers on it, and we know they're the dealer that sent it to us, but it doesn't need the stickers all over it. It doesn't need it. It looks like they're trying to make it look like it's exclusive to them when we know they're just the dealer. And I really, really dislike it. I really strongly dislike it because it's so pretty and the stickers just cheapen it slightly. Also the fact that the one on the back here, it's not even parallel with the back of the machine. If they'd got it parallel, I'd like it a bit more, but it's just it's the kind of shoddy way that they've gone, oh, I'll just put a sticker on it. Yeah, it's something to do with us. And it's just unnecessary, and it just really, really annoys me, especially the sheer number of them. I'd accept one. I'd be like, oh yeah, Stirling Kit sold it, they put a sticker on it. But the fact there's 4 just slapped on it, please stop doing that. So moaning over, what is it we actually have here? This is the Model 185 engine, and it's based on a real thing. The real thing being a single-cylinder air-cooled diesel engine, which is obviously much larger, but this is it in miniature with a couple of modifications. Primary amongst these is the fact that that is a lead going to the spark plug because this is a petrol engine, because apparently miniature diesel engines are quite hard to do. The key feature for me is the fact it's coupled up to this whopping great generator, so we can actually do something with this and generate electricity. And I really like that that means that this is a functional piece. It's not just a demonstration engine, it actually does something. And for me, in model terms, that makes it proper. So let's have a look at some of the other key features. And chief amongst these is the on-off switch. You do that to turn the ignition on, and you do that to hopefully turn the whole thing off. This is the upgraded version, which has a fuel gauge, or rather it's a sight glass. You can see how much petrol's in it, but that's a really useful feature to find out why the engine isn't going. This is our starter here, which comes with this clutch thing they call it, which goes into a drill, and we push this in like that, and then use the drill to turn over the whole engine. Yes, that does look rather flimsy, doesn't it? I wonder how long that will last. And then we've got this super cute little oil filter on the side here, which apparently does have an element in it, so it will actually filter the oil. Up here we've got our air filter, and we have the throttle, which is tiny. And apparently we can use this one here to adjust the jet. This lever here is the decompressor, so we can turn the engine over without compression to make sure the oil goes all around it. And on this side, there's a super cute little fuel filter, again with an element which comes through here and then is connected to the bottom of the fuel tank. If we really wanted, we could undo this to drain the tank, or, could just pick it up and turn it upside down. And then here we have possibly my favourite feature. We have a little miniature dipstick. I mean, look at that, it's so twee, because we do actually need to check the oil on this, because if it doesn't have oil in it, it will seize up and it will knacker itself. So this is important, but also twee. Now, you see, apart from the information that I managed to glean from the internet before doing this video, I don't really know anything else about this or how it works. Had this been a model steam engine, I've been playing with model steam for about, well, 25 years now. So I've got a vague idea of, this is steam engine, this is how it works. This thing, I haven't got a clue. So in order to really understand what we're doing, it's time to have a look at the instructions. Well, the good news with all of this is actually the English is pretty good. There's a couple of bits of interesting choices, but by far the best instructions that I've read so far, with a load of really, really good information on how to look after it. It even comes with this, explaining how the lubrication works inside it, and that's quite cool, even though I can't get to any of this because it's inside. Even the health and safety stuff is in good English and is completely relevant and not ridiculous. That's not to say, though, that the instructions are perfect. Whilst the English is some of the best that I've read in these kinds of instructions, it's not without its mistakes. There are a couple of spelling mistakes, and they refer to the fuel needle inside the carburettor as the oil needle, so obviously they've got their wires crossed somewhere. The other big problem with this is, if this was a steam engine, within my office I have all the equipment and all of the supplies I need to fire that up. I've got steam oil, fuel, whatever. This one, I don't have anything that I need, and most pressingly, in a few places it says how much you need to make sure you put oil in this and check the dipstick. And there's another problem with that. The dipstick doesn't actually have a mark on it, it's just "and dipstick." So in the instructions it references that you need to put in between 4 and 7 millilitres of oil. What kind of oil, I hear you cry? There is nothing. I cannot find any information online. I cannot find any information in people who have done this. I have absolutely no idea what kind of oil is meant to go in this. And I'm sure that most of you who have vehicles know you can't just put any oil into an engine. If you put the wrong oil into it, it will greatly upset it. I don't even know the basics of this. I don't know if it's meant to be a mineral, a semi-synthetic, or a fully synthetic. I know absolutely nothing. And I don't want to break it. So I spent a couple of hours on my computer Googling, and eventually, at Screwfix, I found 4-stroke motor oil. And I figure that's the closest. I don't even know what that is. I mean, it just says basics 4-stroke motor oil. So I've assumed that's what this is, because it says motor oil, it's a 4-stroke engine, so 4-stroke motor oil it will get. Which also now means that in order to run this, I need to head out and go get the supplies.
And despite having many fuel cans in the shed, I don't have any at home, so I had to go to Shell, buy a new can, fill it with super, and collect the rest of my requirements.
I don't know what you're all thinking. How am I going to get that into my fuel tank? Well, I've got a little empty squeezy bottle here that used to have oil in it, and that's going to be a petrol dispenser. And getting that into there, that shouldn't be too hard. Because I've got a funnel. What could go wrong? This is entirely what the funnel is designed for, to go from one to the other. That just goes. I wonder how much this takes. So I have returned with my little haul, including this 4-stroke engine oil, which I still don't actually know what it is. It says on the back, 4-stroke engine oil, specially formulated for 4-stroke lawnmowers, stationary engines and generators. As that is both a stationary engine and a generator, this obviously must be the correct stuff, mustn't it? I've got no idea what's in that, apart from the fact that that's a litre and I need millilitres, so theoretically that is going to last me the life of this engine. At this point, I'd like to point out how important it is to keep your petrol in an approved container. So we just have to take that filler out like so. Now it's worth pointing out that normally when I do something like this, there has been some kind of dry run beforehand to make sure that the system works. This time, as you can see, there has not been. Best thing about petrol is, by the time I actually get round to firing this thing up, all the petrol that's spilt around here will have evaporated away. Put the lid back on, like that. Today on key things that Lawrie should have remembered to do first, I have to turn it upside down to put these in. Yeah, these are AA batteries that it needs 3 of. It doesn't generate its own spark, it needs power. Right, so we have to lift this up. There we go. And install 1, 2, 3 batteries. So now I think I need to put some oil into it. So we undo the little dipstick here, which has apparently nothing on it. And time to use the definitely correct oil. Remove the cap like a competent human being. And then we want to extract 7 millilitres to go into it. So that's 5, 6, yeah, about 7. We take this round here and we're just going to encourage that to go
into the engine, hopefully.
Now we can replace the dipstick and see actually what kind of level we get on this thing. I still don't really know, there's definitely oil on it, but... So now is where the instructions let me down, because they are repeated, and I don't know if that means do it twice, or if they're just repeated. It says in pre-startup, fill the engine with between 5 and 7 millilitres of oil, and then turn the engine over with the decompressor on to make sure that oil is distributed throughout the engine. Then it says on engine starting and running, add between 5 and 7 millilitres of oil. So does that mean do it again? I assume so. I don't want to over oil it, but I'm going to take the instructions at face value that it says pre-startup, fill it with oil. And it doesn't say first time running, because if it said first time running, sure, that would make total sense. But it just says pre-startup and startup. So I'm going to take pre-startup as a first time.
Following the instructions, I dutifully added more oil.
Be on the safe side, and maybe that'll be okay. Who knows? Now to set up my starter motor. So we have a drill, and into this we insert what they call the clutch. It says we push that down and turn this over for 10 seconds. Oh yeah, that feels 1, 2, 3. So let's give this a go. Power to go. Set the throttle to absolute maximum. All right, so let's see if this will go, shall we?
Ooh. And following that promising start, I tried again.
Come on.
And again. And again. And again.
Oh.
What was particularly annoying was it was so close. It kept almost running, but not quite. And with no ideas of anything better to do, I kept trying. And trying. And trying. And trying. And trying. And trying. Until eventually something had to give.
Well, this is a problem. That's meant to have the little knobbles on it so I can spin it around, and they've just sheared off. So now, it doesn't work. I can't get it. Yeah, that's it completely knackered. Well, I had read elsewhere online that that was a weak spot on this design and that people were worried that it would shear, and shear it has, which now renders the entire thing utterly useless. I can't start it. That is the way you start this device. So there are options. I can take the whole front piece off and see if they will send me another one from presumably China land, so that'll be probably a good month. Or I can head out to the shops and go and get some parts and try and drill it out and put a new one in. However, considering how much this costs, that's really not acceptable. This is done a handful of runs, and it's knackered. That's just not acceptable. It's just not. That's a really bad piece of design for such a crucial part to be made of such thin Chinesium. That's really bad, and I can't, because I don't see a way that part's not going to shear eventually. It's just not good. It's really not good.
Rather than just declare the thing a failure and end the video here, I elected to head off to the shops and pick up supplies.
So, having gone to the shop and bought some drill bits, my options are to try and drill this out, which is going to be an absolute pig. Look at the state of me. I was tense, I didn't want to snap the drill bit off in it, didn't want to push too hard and snap the whole shaft, don't want to bend the shaft. So that's all of the swarf that we can now just gently remove. So the only stuff I can find locally was this, which is a tad too big, so I'm going to have to drill the whole one size up.
Yes.
Fixed, kind of.
And with that faff over and dealt with, I could get back to trying to get this poxy thing to start. Having had enough of this tomfoolery, I took drastic action and resorted to reading the instructions. In the troubleshooting section, it mentioned adjusting the needle on the carburetor to change the ratio of fuel and air. And as there was literally nothing else that I could do, I figured that this was the best bet to try it, because it's entirely possible that something got shaken in transit and that's moved it into a different position. Oh. And what a difference reading the instructions made!
Everything's falling off my desk. I put it on my mouse mat to try and balance this out. That was absolutely fantastic. It's a proper working little engine. It's brilliant, apart from the fact it has shaken everything off my desk around my monitor. Everything has fallen off, so I'll have to sort that out later. But that's great. It actually does what it says. It runs, and it's quite... That's fantastic. So I'm going to try and get it fired up and go again and see what else it'll do. But that's really quite entertaining. I like this a lot. It really works. What's really fun with it there is that you have to play with the needle there. So it needs to be slightly more open to get the thing to start, and then once it's started I need to wind it back in, and then you get it running nice and smoothly. The other thing I've learned is the drill needs to have full battery. If the battery's not full, it doesn't turn over fast enough and it doesn't go, but here we go. This is a reoccurring fault that it vibrates so much the battery falls out. Now, it doesn't run particularly smoothly. As you can see, it's managed to eject one of the bolts that holds down the strap, and I actually don't know where that's gone. My replacement starter keeps breaking. Like, I get 2 or 3 starts, and then it fails again. That said though, I got a lot of the brass pipe, so I can keep replacing it. And that would be the battery falling out again. Having put the batteries in and restarted it, there are a couple of key things to note about this. 1, it is very, very, very loud. And 2, because it's a single cylinder, it's unbalanced and it vibrates a lot. I normally have my models and lots of knickknacks on top of the shelf here, and it managed to vibrate all of them off the shelf. The other big problem is I can't really show you anything working on it because it's all internal. There's no exposed flywheel, it's just all in there. So once I've shown you it running, there isn't really much else I can do. And then the batteries fall out again. Having used up a tank of fuel and put everything back on my desk, what are my thoughts about this diminutive little engine? Well, actually I'm quite annoyed. In fact, I'm more than annoyed. I am actively angry about this because I wanted to love it so much. So much of it is great. The way it looks, and then now I figured out how to get it to run reliably and get it to start every time. The sensation of running it is phenomenal. The sense of power that it gives off for a tiny thing, the noise, the vibration, it's just an incredible sensation, and I really, really love it. However, this is the most expensive model engine that Stirling Kit have sent me. In fact, it's the most expensive one that anybody has sent me yet to review on the channel. And that starting mechanism is not fit for purpose. It is disgusting. That is never going to work. I didn't even get this thing fired up and running before I sheared that. And that is simply not acceptable. For almost, in fact, for over £600, that is not an acceptable item to have. Even if you ran this properly. Now, having gone back and looked at everything, I realised that you're meant to take the top off, put your hand over, turn it over to draw petrol into it. Because it was so close, I never did that. I kind of just thought it was going to go. But even if you did it properly and you got it running, you're going to get maybe a dozen starts out of this before that shears. That is a terrible piece of design. Frankly, it's crap. It's utterly crap. And on that alone, I would say, do not buy this. If it was maybe £100, I'd be like, yeah, sure, go for that. You have to fix that, but £100, it's fine. But for £600, that is not an acceptable fault. I have cars. There are cars that feature on the channel on adventures, and my dailies have cost less than this machine, and they start every time without any problem. It is laughably bad. In fact, it's not laughable, it's just sad. It is infuriating. That is a fundamental design flaw that should never ever have been built. The other thing that's hugely aggravating is the fact that the batteries fall out. You will have seen in many of the shots I'm holding this thing down, and that's not just because of the fact that if I let go it will just vibrate itself around and eventually fall off the desk. It's the fact that if I don't push down on this, the batteries will fall out of it. And then it stops because it doesn't generate its own electricity. It requires those 3 AA batteries to generate a spark. This is a massive design flaw, and I'll accept that, and maybe it can be fixed in the future. The fact that they didn't just put a cover in to hold the batteries in is lazy and makes this thing just infuriating. You've just got it running lovely. It's purring away, and then the vibration of it, because it is an unbalanced engine, it's a single cylinder, causes the batteries to fall out. So in order to get any running, you've got to sit there with that. Yes, I could put some tape over it or something to hold it in, but I shouldn't have to. Not for a £600 engine. You would have thought that that cover would have been included just to make this run smoothly. And that, it's just, it's so close to being great, but it's not. The other things that kind of annoy me are, I love the fact that I have these oil filter and the fuel filter on the side with a replaceable cartridge. Does it tell me anywhere where I can get a cartridge for, or what that cartridge is meant to be, or a size, or a product number, or anything? No. It does for the spark plug, it tells me what that is so I can get a replacement one, but if I want to change the filters on that, not a clue. I still don't know about the dipstick. I haven't got a clue about this thing. I mean, how much oil is meant to be on it? I don't know. Currently, there's a drop on the end. That's probably enough. But it's not written in the instructions, so it turns out that if there's a drop on the end of the dipstick, that's probably right. But it doesn't say. And then those instructions. Whilst they are some of the best that I have read, the fact that they repeat themselves, I'm still unsure of the pre-start, if that's meant to be you put in oil and you put in another slug of oil, or if it's just accidentally repeating itself talking about the same thing. They are very confusing, and for somebody who didn't have a clue what they're doing on this, you would just not know, and you'd probably overfill it with oil, because I suspect it's not meant to have that. There should be a clear mark on the dipstick, or it should be said somewhere that it's just when there is a drop of oil on the end of it. The instructions do let this down. In fact, all of it lets it down. That starting mechanism is just, it's so annoying. And what's really upsetting is the fact that if it wasn't for that starting mechanism, this would have been great. I'd forgive the fact the instructions aren't brilliant. But that combined with everything else, the batteries, the starting mechanism, the fact I don't know how to keep this going, and of course the fact of this. I mean, engine oil, it says it needs 4-stroke engine oil. This is still 4-stroke engine oil. I still don't know what that's meant to be. I don't know even if it was meant to be a mineral, a semi-synthetic, or a synthetic. I have no idea of the weight of the oil. I don't know. I have no idea, so maybe that's the wrong oil. I genuinely don't know, and that's for something that's so important to an engine. Not having the basic information of what oil it should have seems such a massive omission from the instructions. It's infuriating that I can't work out what I'm actually meant to put into it, because when it's running, it's great. I really love it. And this generator, the size of that, I am sure that we can run stuff off it. And now I've figured out how to make it work, and I'm pretty happy with making it work, despite with my bodge of a starter mechanism. I want to see what we can do with this. I want to see how much power it actually makes, and whether, we can run a model railway with it, because I suspect with the size of that and the power this has, that we'll be able to do just that, and that's something we're going to do in a future video, because I like this enough to do more stuff with it, and the fact that they sent it to me so it hasn't cost me anything. If I'd paid money for this, I'd be sending it back because it's so disappointing. Now, based on other videos, they say they've passed my feedback on to the designers. So, this is already the Mark II. As I mentioned, it's got a fuel gauge here where, well, the window in so you can see how much fuel you've got. So perhaps in the future, they're going to upgrade this mechanism here and make it out to something stronger so that it doesn't shear. The other thing about it is it started leaking. There's oil all over the base. Now, I don't know if that's because of the instructions I've overfilled it. I don't know if something's leaking on it, but the base is absolutely covered in oil. It's shiny. No idea if it's chucking it out from the cylinder. Perhaps it's just bypassing the rings. I don't know. Again, that might just be having an engine of this size that it does that, but it doesn't say anywhere in the instructions, and frankly, I wasn't expecting it to do that. It now means that I don't know how much oil I'm meant to put in it, because that's the next problem. It says when you start it, you put in that much oil. It doesn't say you check the oil and you should put in a certain amount or check the dipstick. It just says pre-start, put in that much oil. So in a tank of fuel, is it meant to burn that much oil? I literally have no idea. It's so close to being good, and it misses those good instructions and a better bit of design. And it's infuriating. It is infuriating. As you can tell, it's annoyed me intently. I must at this point say a massive thank you to Stirling Kit for sending it across. I have enjoyed it and we will be doing more with it, but it's just such a flawed thing for the money. It is, however, not the worst thing that they've sent me, because that would be that over there. So if you've enjoyed this, how about clicking on that one, or for a better engine, down there. So thank you all very much for watching. Don't buy this, or if you do, make sure it's like got £400 off or £500 off, because it's just, don't waste your money on this. Just go buy a car on Facebook Marketplace.